Alright guys, welcome back. I've got CarPro's Reload Spray Sealant here. I'm going to go ahead and do a basic overview and also put it through the water test. And this is also the 2015 version, so it's the latest one they have available. It's gone through a couple different variations. And CarPro's been around for about 6 years now. They started out with their A quartz paint coating and they later changed the name to C quartz. And they designed Reload to complement their paint coating. So a spray sealant that would help maintain the shine and gloss and also the hydrophobic behavior of the original coating. And over the years they've increased the durability of the product, so you can really use Reload as a spray sealant by itself. And the latest 2015 version is supposed to last from 4 to 6 months, and you can see here it's got like a milky white color to it. And so I applied this to the paint yesterday. It's been about 24 hours, so I'll go ahead and put it through the water test right now. I have the Reload on the left side fender and the left side hood facing the car here. And on the right side I have the Brilliant Shine Detailer from Sonax that I did in my last test review. And I just want to compare the hydrophobic behavior. We know that the Brilliant Shine Detailer is incredibly hydrophobic, so just want to see how the Reload does in comparison with that. Now, as far as application goes, you can use Reload over all different sorts of surfaces. You can use it on paint, you can use it on the trim or on glass. It's going to go over fine. It's not going to leave any sort of white residue behind. But many people were having trouble with the product leaving some streaking or some oily residue left on the paint. But in my experience, when I apply Reload directly to the paint, I spray it right on there and go over it with a microfiber towel and then grab another towel to try and remove that residue. It takes a little bit more time to get it nice and clean off the paint. And I'm not seeing any sort of significant holograms or anything like that. It's a very slight amount of residue that if you're using a light source above, you can definitely see it when you go over it with a microfiber towel. So Reload is not that type of product that's going to flash super quick off the paint. You definitely want to have a couple separate clean microfiber towels ready to go to give it that final wipe down after you apply it and spread it around with the original microfiber. And Corey from CarPro US, he's the distributor for the United States for CarPro, he recommends that you spray 4 or 5 sprays directly onto the microfiber towel and then go ahead and spread the sealant directly onto the paint that way, and that might help reduce the overall level of oily residue that might be left behind. And it's such a faint amount. It's hard to call it oily residue because the only way you're really going to see it is if you really have a nice light source above and you're moving the microfiber towel across the paint. You can see it sort of shift in the light. But if you're having troubles with that, go ahead and try wiping it down with the damp microfiber towel. And what really works for me is washing the car with soap and rinsing it with water is going to completely remove any trace of that residue left behind on the paint. And so here on this side we have the Sonax Brilliant Shine Detailer. And you can see that these two products, they behave pretty similarly. You know, at the beginning, their hydrophobic behavior is very high. But the weakness of Brilliant Shine Detailer is it's not going to leave you that super slick feeling paint surface. You know, that's one of the strengths of CarPro Reload is you're going to get the incredible levels of water beading, and you're also going to get that super slick feeling on the paint. But CarPro Reload's weakness is, again, that oily residue that you have to spend a little bit more time trying to deal with. And the Sonax Brilliant Shine Detailer does not have any trouble with that. It flashes off the paint incredibly well. And so both of these products sort of have their different strengths and weaknesses, where the strength of one is a weakness of the other. But you can certainly see from the test here, I mean, these two are both incredibly hydrophobic products. You know, I really like that super crazy tight beading sort of behavior. And they both look great in the sun as well. Excellent gloss and shine. And with the Reload, I don't think they scented it to smell like anything in particular. It's got a strong chemical sort of smell to it. It certainly doesn't smell as good as the Brilliant Shine Detailer. The Brilliant Shine Detailer has that very nice coconut scent. So I'll go ahead and get the soap out, and we'll wash the car down and rinse it off and see just how well this Reload holds up after using soap. Alright, so I've washed the car down with the Meguiar's Deep Crystal Car Wash soap. We'll see if there's been any changes to the surface tension, see if it's maybe decreased a little bit. I know in the last test with the Sonax Brilliant Shine Detailer, we didn't notice any of that going on. The surface tension was just as strong after using soap as it was in the beginning of the test. And that's going to be the difference between this product and many of the other ones on the market is, you know, the surface tension that these leave behind themselves should be a lot more durable compared to some other products. I mean, for 500 milliliters, you're paying about $35 for a CarPro Reload, and that's about 17 ounces. And when you're paying that much for a product, you're definitely expecting the performance of it to outlast all the other spray waxes and spray sealants that you can get over the counter, like the Meguiar's Ultimate Quick Wax and the Turtle Wax Ice Spray Wax. And the bottle of Reload that I picked up was just a 100 milliliter sample size, and that was about $17 for that. So Reload is going to be a lot higher as far as price per ounce goes, but you can certainly see that it's held up well after the soap test, so it still has a very high surface tension. And compared to the Brilliant Shine Detailer, the Reload comes out in a finer mist. It seems like it's not as thick as the Brilliant Shine Detailer is. And you really don't have to spray a lot of product onto the towel or onto the paint in order to get a nice even coverage. And that's one of the things that you want to pay attention to when you're applying it to the paint is you want to get an even color coverage going across the entire paint panel. And one of the things that I tested out was applying this in direct sunlight. I had a metallic black car come in here and I was testing this out on the hood in 91-degree temperature, and it was really hot, but I was able to apply Reload to the surface without getting any sort of crazy holograms. I was able to get even coverage across the entire paint panel. So you definitely want to work this into the paint until you get that even color coverage, and then you should be good to go. But using it in full sunlight and very hot temperature, I was able to get this product to work fine. You know, it started out a little blotchy, but as you continue to apply the product and continue to spread it across the paint panel, it definitely evens itself out really nicely. But they certainly don't recommend it for full sunlight usage. You're going to get the best results if you use it on a cool surface, but just to test the limits of the product, I was able to get it to work fine for me. And I tested Brilliant Shine Detailer at the same time, and it was also working fine. I was having no issues with streaking or oily residue, and it spread just fine. Now, as far as curing goes, Reload is not a product that needs like an extended cure period. You know, if the paint gets wet shortly after applying Reload, I think it's not going to diminish the performance of the product as much. Corey recommends that you wait about an hour before it gets wet, but it shouldn't be something that's going to be detrimental if it does get wet shortly after you apply the product. So I'm certainly impressed. I mean, Reload is a product that's definitely going to meet my preferences. And you can see here at the bottom, it's got the manufacturing date as well as the expiration date. You can see that if you have a late 2014 date, that's going to be the 2015 version, the latest one they have out, which is going to be that milky white color. It certainly competes well against the Brilliant Shine Detailer from Sonax. I mean, it's going to give you that much higher slickness feeling to the paint. It's going to be just as hydrophobic in the short term, but it also might give you that very slight amount of oily residue that you might have to spend a little bit extra time to take care of. And it's not a big issue for me because it washes off really easily during the next wash. So I'm definitely a fan of both of these products. I mean, they're certainly seem to be at the top of their game as far as hydrophobic behavior goes. Really high surface tension. The Reload is definitely going to be more expensive than the Sonax Brilliant Shine Detailer, but it's going to give you that slickness feeling to the paint. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Again, thanks for watching, and I will continue to put up more product reviews and water tests coming out in the future. Take care.